going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Noodle Time, episode 152. I am your host, Mark Segovia, alongside Andres. What's going on, Andres?
Mark, sir, pretty good here in Austin. Still wondering what's going to happen this year after that game against the local team. And yeah, man, just lots to talk about, and especially a big game coming up.
Yeah, for sure. A really big game. Actually, I think we're on prime time this week, if I'm not mistaken. But
Yep.
but we'll get to that, and all and everything surrounding that game, because there is a big there's going to be big media attention towards that game this year. What's going on, Sly Rooster? Noodly Oodly. So, I mean, obviously, there's going to be a lot of attention towards that game, but we'll talk about it as soon as we get to that topic. But obviously, first thing comes first, 2-2 tie against Austin FC. First half was pretty shitty. Second
Yeah.
half was the Jackie McGlynn show. So, obviously we like to see that from that standpoint. The brace from our young U22 player who we got from Philadelphia Union over the offseason is showing up, scoring goals. He is our second highest goal scorer at this moment, behind Ezekiel Ponce, and I think he is our top leading assist man, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, obviously Jackie McGlynn having a pretty good season for himself in his debut season with the Dynamo, not to mention the USA men's national team call up and the appearances and the goal that he scored with those guys as well. But your thoughts, the Austin FC game, obviously a tale of two halves, as many would call it. Like I mentioned, the first half kind of same old Dynamo that we've been seeing for the last couple of weeks, and in the second half, just a little bit more different. Your our favorite coach mentioned it in his press conference. That had this been a different situation under different circumstances, the Dynamo might have rolled over and just let the game, be taken over by Austin. But obviously, that was not the case. Your thoughts on the game and everything that Mr. Olsen had to say about it?
Well, the 75 minutes of that game were just absolutely dreadful and depressing because we, as a team, were unable to build up anything towards the final third. And we definitely got forward in the first 15 minutes. We definitely got the opportunities to get ahead in the game here and there. And as it is the story this year and in multiple games, when we have a good start, we don't capitalize and we let the team take over. And this is also what happened against Austin.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just really dreadful. Obviously, coming into this game, we are in a situation where we haven't won in over a month.
Yeah.
And obviously, coming out of Leagues Cup, where we all have like this, we are just straight up negative towards the Dynamo because, for good reason, there's almost nothing to look forward to, especially when coming into this game with like only Antonio Carlos to say like, hey, we made a signing. Antonio Carlos, definitely just what we needed. But Antonio Carlos ended up being one of the positives in this game. But obviously, in the first 75 minutes, I was sitting in the press box with OSG, and it was extremely hard for us to find any type of silver lining, like up until late into the second half, because it just looks like this team was all over the place, unorganized, just trying to do something, and things didn't click up until late into the second half.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's awesome that you and OSG. Shout out to OSG. What's going on, Corey? What's going on, Jeff? Guys on the chat. Yeah, man. I was at home watching it, man, and man, that first half, man, it was so disappointing, man. It's so disappointing, to the point where had if I was a casual dude, I would be turning it off, because I mean they just showed no heart, no discipline. Kind of showed like they didn't even want to be there. Like maybe they didn't even need to be on the same pitch as this Austin FC team that to be honest, isn't that great themselves. They just do what they need to do to get by, which obviously that's the reason why, and that's the big difference in why they're in playoff positioning and the Dynamo aren't. Those guys capitalize when they need to capitalize, and for the last 6, 7, 8 weeks, the Dynamo haven't, and that's why we're in the situation we're in, where 9 games left in the schedule after this Austin FC game. I'm not sure. I'm definitely not gonna sit here and bet that the Dynamo are gonna make the playoff. We're gonna make a playoff push. If anything, I'm more towards the latter of them not making it. You know, but I mean, obviously, crazy things have happened. I mean, this is a team that has veterans that have been in situations before where they, obviously a majority of them have been, in situations where they have played a lot of winning soccer and have that winning tenacity that you're looking for in a squad. But unfortunately, for whatever reason, it's just not clicking between them, and maybe this late heroics from Jackie McGlynn and his brace, might catapult the Dynamo into the right direction. Again, that's hoping, that's praying, that's asking for a miracle, baby Jesus. If you're hearing us, so I mean, it's a tough scenario to be at as a fan, obviously. I mean, but obviously, as long as we're not mathematically eliminated, there's always a chance, right? There's still a chance as long as we're not mathematically eliminated. And obviously, we talked about it last show. 10 games left. We need as much positivity and as much a positive outlook as possible, and a tie. And a tie in Austin is a positive outcome, right? No matter how it looked like, I mean, or whatever the case may be, a point was gained. So I mean, we'll see if they can continue with that with that positive trend. My question to you, Andres, I mean, obviously, does did McGlynn basically save Olsen's job for the rest of the season?
I think so, but just for this week, for now, because as we all know, heading into this game after the Leagues Cup and after everything that has happened this year, uh, with all the progress I was backing up Ben Olsen State,
Mm-hmm.
it really felt like it was make or break. I thought if Ben Olsen lost that game, it could have been really bad. And Asher was in the building. I don't know about Pat, but I do know that Asher was there. And I'm not sure if it was because it was close by. Like, he always travels to Austin, especially for most Austin FC2 games that happen here against those. So although that was the case, it still felt like a lot of things were running in this game. And we're feeling like this could be Ben Olsen's last night as a head coach, depending on the outcome. And Jack McGlynn, I don't know what else to say. Probably the MVP of the season, but yep.
It's kind of a weird situation to be in, right? You're happy. Well, I mean, look, I'm happy. Jack McGlynn is showing up, and scoring the way he's scoring, penalty, obviously the goal that he scored, and obviously playing to the end of the game to make sure that the Dynamo at least collect a point at home. And I've always said road points are golden points, and one of the positive things about this season is that we've been collecting a lot of these golden points, but unfortunately, all these golden points don't mean anything if we're not getting any points at home, which is the case this season, right? So it's an interesting aspect to be in a kind of difficult position to be in as a fan, where I want my team to be scoring, I want the player that they hugely invested into to be scoring and to be producing the way he is, because obviously we know that McGlynn's tenure in Houston isn't going to be a long one. It might be this year, might be next year, and that possibly be it. And then he might be off to Europe after that. We'll see what happens. Obviously, we don't know what the exact plan is. But obviously, with that being said, I mean, he's an investment player that we invested in, and we're hoping to get big payoff off of him, regardless. And with that being said, I mean, you want that player to be at his maximum and to be, a leader for this team, even though he's a super young player. Maybe he doesn't lead by his voice, but I mean, he can lead by his actions on the pitch. And obviously representing his national team, and then obviously, doing what he did this past Saturday, it goes a long way to going towards that path. Because I mean, it's like I said, there's so many negatives with this season, so many negatives, and there's a lot of things that the Dynamo fan base and supporters are they're just looking to grab onto, so to have any kind of hope. And obviously with this, like I said, I think this tie basically kind of secures Ben Olsen's tenure, as far as that I think he's completing the whole season as a coach, regardless of what happens. So I think this match, if this match would have ended up 4-0 Austin FC winning, to be honest, I think we would be having a different show today. I honestly think that. But like I said, Jack McGlynn did what he did. I think he basically saved Benny Olsen's job, and he will be our coach to the remaining of the season. So, who knows if I'm right or if I'm wrong, but I mean, that's how I feel. So Andres, I guess, with this tie, obviously, like I said, like I mentioned earlier, 9 games left. Does this, I mean, increase your playoff hopes any bigger than what they were last week? Does it make you feel any better as far as the Dynamo making the playoffs or their playoff chances per se?
No, I'm still not hopeful. Honestly, no. Like, it's just the
What did you give me
honestly the
last week? Like a
way.
5%, I think it was.
Yeah, 5. I think it was like 5%, only because I'm biased as hell. But yeah, honestly, the way the team is shaped up currently as things stand, I still feel like it's really hard for us to get wins by any means necessary. And we do
Yeah.
have 9 games remaining. We do have some tough opponents ahead, especially the next game coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, I definitely want a sports miracle, because those definitely exist, but they're so mysterious that it's not really quantifiable by fans. Like, it just happens. Like, if they're able to not lose games and at the same time win and draw games and hope for the best against other teams also battling for a playoff spot, it can definitely happen. But for any fan that has seen MLS for a long time, and especially Dynamo fans that have been around for a long time, it's very hard. It's very hard to see us compete for postseason, but it's a matter of seeing what happens.
Yeah. What's going on, Giuseppe? Giuseppe says, I'm not either, to be honest. I think a little too late. He thought that San Diego would be a turning point. Yeah, I mean, we go back to that San Diego game, and basically that aside from, them scoring 2 goals in this Austin game, that was the last multi-goal scoring game that the Dynamo had, I think I mentioned before, 10 of the last 11 games has been a goal or less scored by the Dynamo. And like I said, if you're not scoring, you're not winning. You're putting a lot, and definitely if you're not scoring, you're putting a lot of pressure on the defense, where it's been patchwork. Where whether we've been inserting Bartlow or Pablo Ortiz or Andrade or Escobar or mixing up Dorsey, or seeing which four are gonna play. It's like it's a musical chairs game back there right now. And obviously the acquisition of Antonio Carlos is just another player to play this game. And obviously he's a player with a lot of MLS experience. I lifted the U.S. Open Cup with Orlando City not too long ago. So I mean, he is a player who has experienced a good amount of winning in this league, and obviously has familiarities with a player like Junior Uso as well. But I mean, but like I said, it's just 9 games left, and we still don't know which our back four, the best back four that we can have back there to help this defense. It's still something that's a little worrisome for myself. And on top of that, the fact that we still don't know where goals are going to come from. Obviously the penalty was mighty helpful from the Austin FC standpoint of things. And then obviously, just the Dynamo just kind of clashing the box and being able to be in the right spot, right place, right time, and for McGlynn to get that other goal. It's sometimes you're just like surprised and stunned that the ball would fall like that for the Dynamo, just because it seems like it never falls right for a Dynamo player to shoot and have a shot on goal, man. It just never seems like they just get the right opportunity to score. So, it was a great thing to see, at least from that standpoint, as far as the ball being put in the back of the net for the Dynamo. So you said 5% last week. I mean, is it at least up to like 6%, maybe 7% now?
I'd say probably 0.5% because it's
that 5.5.
Like, okay, we got a point, sure, but we have to win games. We have to score goals. And you mentioned the San Diego game. I always feel like the San Diego game is such a fascinating topic because so many things happen in that game. Like it's like since like the game against New York City back in May, like Houston never scored more than 3 goals. Like except that game against San Diego, and that's it. Like it's just like the goals are so hard to come by, and we did score 2 goals against Austin, which is great, but literally that was the first time since the game against San Diego that we scored 2 goals. So it's we have so many problems. We need to to get points, we have to win games. To win games, we have to score goals and obviously defend. So it's like I don't know what's happening, man. Like it's just absolutely unacceptable.
Yeah, it's a drought, man. I mean, the Dynamo's offense has dried up. I mean, to be honest, it hasn't ever really flourished this whole season. I mean, I remember the excitement after that game. Obviously it was a Ponce brace, and Nali scores his first goal. And things like that. And you're like, oh man, this is exactly what we needed. We're gonna get off to this. This is gonna be the turning point, just like Giuseppe said in the chat. I was looking like, man, I can't believe it. You kind of overlook the fact that they allowed 3 goals, right? But I mean, because just them scoring 4 goals is just such an amazement, and the way they scored it, and then who scored those goals, you were just like, man, this is what we needed. This is gonna pump them up. This is the turnaround. This is the turning point. The confidence is gonna be high. These guys know that they can play with anybody. San Diego was top of the table at the time, so they went toe to toe with those guys, and it just showed. It just showed. I mean, it showed glimpses of what this team is capable of. If, to be honest, if they're allowed to play a little bit more freely, I feel, and it's funny because I managed to hear a little bit of Soccer Matters with Glenn when he was talking to Jack McGlynn, and he asked him if he thought the system was a little too organized, like was there like seemingly saying like, hey, the system is organized and all that good stuff, and there's a lot of ways, to get the ball around and move it around, and that's why the possession game is really good with the Dynamo, and it has been for the last, for the Olsen era for sure, has been really high and really good. The 60% possession and all that good stuff. But it doesn't allow for the team to, or for the individual player to really go out there and be themselves and show off their characteristics or show off their personal flair. And I think that's what's missing from this side, because I mean, I think you have a lot of talented individual players, Inali, McGlynn, Ponce, and players like that can do something individually if they're allowed to. But I feel like they're just so stuck into playing Olsen's system and making sure that they don't mess up or they don't lose the ball in a certain way, that pisses off Olsen, that they just like, all right, you know what? As long as I'm not losing the ball, I'm good. We're keeping the 60% possession. That's all that matters. So, but I don't know, man. It's a crazy situation to be in. Giuseppe says, I'm a broken record, but I believe we have a team that is better, but they ain't being used right. And I agree. I agree with what Giuseppe says on the chat. And I think you too. You agree as well, Andres, and that's why we've been
Yep.
barking up. We've been barking up the tree as far as do we need a change at the head of the table as far as coaching goes? And like I said, no disrespect to what Ben Olsen did. Ben Olsen did his job when he came to the Dynamo. We were a club 12 feet deep in the hole, and he was the coach picked out by Pat Onstad and Asher and Ted to start digging this club out of the hole, and he did that, man. We're gonna applaud him. He won a U.S. Open Cup, took us to the Western Conference Final, and all that good stuff, and we have a lot of great memories, But the thing is, right now, we're stagnant. And I don't know whether that's because it's Olsen's coaching style, the lack of talent that we lost over the offseason, or just the lack of talent that was brought in this to the season. It's a combination of things, and obviously when you have such a bad season and a bad taste in your mouth, there's always a scapegoat. And you know Ted isn't getting fired. Ted isn't getting fired. He's the owner. Pat, I doubt it. Ted has a lot of confidence in Pat. So I mean, who's the one that gets made an example of? Obviously some people will blame the players as far as doing that, but I mean, one could say the players are doing what is being asked of them. You know, if the formation or the tactics or whatever has no room for individualism, you can't blame the player. They're doing what's being asked of them. So I don't know. It's a tough thing to say. Corey says there's plenty of room on the gym curtain hype train, boys. Toot toot. Hey, like I said, he's just one of many coaches out there that are available that have had a lot of success, especially him currently. If he's had a lot of success with Philadelphia Union prior to him being let go, and he's basically one of the reasons why the Philadelphia Union are where they're at this moment. So I mean, he would be a great addition to the squad if that were to be the route that this team decides to go. But unfortunately, that's just a pipe dream right now. We're still on the Olsen train, and until it crashes over or hits something along the way, that's the ride we're on right now, and that's not a good ride to be on right now because that train, unfortunately, is heading up north, Andres, to Vancouver, and first place on top of the club. Well, second place right now, and the Western Conference Vancouver Whitecaps, and not only are we going to Vancouver at a bad time, but we're going to them at a time where they're probably going to be at the most excited. I mean, you can think like, dude, this Vancouver team has been the top of the table the whole season. They went to a CONCACAF Champions League. They've had teams like Monterrey come through there, teams like Tigres, Pumas, and stuff like that. So how much more hype can they get? Well, a special player is coming and is supposedly supposed to make their MLS debut against our Houston Dynamo. And we're talking about one German legend, Thomas Mueller, a player who has won a World Cup with Germany, won the Champions League multiple times with Bayern Munich, has won numerous amount of titles with Bayern Munich, one of the German legends of that 2010 era. That's still going. That's an amazing player. Just your thoughts, Andres, on first of all Vancouver Whitecaps and what they're doing, and then obviously the Thomas Mueller effect.
First of all, I think it's great that Thomas Mueller's in MLS, even though
I think it's great too.
I thought he's gonna be retiring, but I was kind of shocked that he chose Vancouver. Apparently, FC Cincinnati was just wanted really badly. Obviously, FC Cincinnati.
I think they had. I think he had his discovery rights. That's what it was.
I think so too. Yeah, I think I read it, but yeah, I thought it would have been cool if based at Cincinnati is like German roots. He ended up there, but apparently he didn't want to be there.
No,
and he chose Vancouver instead. So, which is really interesting. Obviously, Vancouver second in the West by 3 points, if I'm not mistaken. From San Diego, they are extremely good this year. They look like a better team compared to last year in almost every metric, and they just got better. They just added experience on top of a very talented squad,
Mm-hmm.
and they're scary as hell, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously, and they lost Pedro Viti to Pumas on transfer, um, but to bring in a player of this magnitude to a club that's ascending upwards, and it just shows you, like, man, like, these guys, like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't have Vancouver anywhere near anything as far as, like, I'm not no disrespect to them or anything at all. Just, when you think of Canadian teams, you think of Toronto because of everything they've done, with, like the signing of big players, championships, et cetera. Montreal, they've been horrible the whole season. Vancouver is kind of like that. Just, they're Vancouver, they're not, there's nothing really special or flashy about them up until this season, when they just started winning games, and not only winning games, but going down to Mexico and advancing in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, making it to the final against Cruz Azul. And obviously the final wasn't what we wanted, and as far as the representation for MLS, but they had a great showing, and in league play, I mean, they're they're doing the damn thing. Brian White and those guys scoring goals. Goals are coming from every which way. It's just not from just one player. And then, like I said, you add a maestro like Thomas Mueller, and it's just like, wow, like, a team that I had nowhere near. There was no thoughts of Vancouver in my mind this season, showing the ambition that they're showing. That, hey, you know what, they see that this situation for them doesn't happen as often as, say, as LAFC, Seattle, Cincinnati as of late, Inter Miami, where they're playing for championships, and they're at top of the league and stuff like that. They see this as an opportunity to really make some noise and to really put a stamp on Canada, as far as them being the premier team from Canada and MLS. You know, Mueller can really, if Mueller comes in, and I think Mueller still got it, to be honest. He plays smart. He's not the quick. He's never been the quickest midfielder. He's never been the fastest. He's never been the strongest. He's just one of those high IQ guys. He's a Luka Modric. He's a Zinedine Zidane. One of those type of high IQ. They never had the overwhelming physical presence, but they have the mentality. They see the game differently. The game slows down for them, and I think that if Vancouver at the end of the season is lifting MLS Cup, or lifting whatever other trophy is available to them, it's going to be because of this signing right here, and their ambition to go out there and do what they need to do. Corey says he's going to make everyone around him better, just like Acha did for us, for sure. For sure. I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you, Corey. Yeah, Mueller is that player that he doesn't really care about scoring goals for himself or whatever. He wants to make everybody better. He's going to tell everybody where they need to be at. And this is a club that's already, like I said, on the upward swing. This club, without Mueller, was going to be a MLS contending team. Now with Mueller, honestly, out of the West, I mean, obviously, there's still a couple more days left, or like a week or so left, until the window closes. But I mean, at this point, I mean, Vancouver, alongside obviously Miami, are probably my 1 and 2 as far as MLS Cup favorites to lift that title. And they might go on and lift the Supporters Shield as well. Who knows? They're not that far off as far as points from Philadelphia or whatever. So we'll see what happens, but I'm very excited for Mueller making his MLS debut. Obviously, ironically enough, it's against us. But I mean, I'm excited to see him play, and I'm gonna be obviously excited to see how what this does for Vancouver, not just this season, but in the future, man. Your thoughts, Andres?
Man, a lot of great players are coming into MLS. It's obviously some of the older folks are still coming in, and we could be perpetually talking about how MLS can always just be a retirement league. But like honestly, like it's more so the timing of things because we still, well, or the league as a whole has been bringing a lot of great young talent. Uh, um, Obviously, it's a little bit difficult to have more hits than misses, but the league is growing. More teams are capable of bringing in some good players, some notable names that can definitely do great things to the bottom line, and it's a positive for MLS, not just for the league and the teams themselves, but also fans looking into their teams and saying, "Hey, why can't we do this?"
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, I think obviously, I mean, look, man, the whole retirement league thing is outdated in my opinion, right? Like these players that have come over, Messi, Busquets, Mueller, we'll see here, son with LAFC, Forsberg, I can't remember the striker from Red Bulls that was with Bayern Munich. I can't remember his name right now.
Choupo-Moting.
There you go. These guys have come in, Benteke. These guys have come in and they play. They're scoring goals. They're trying to uplift their clubs or whatever. Benteke has been a Golden Boot player. Messi obviously MVP, might win MVP again. Suarez last year to almost 20 goals. This year double digit assist. Human Son. I mean, just in one game, he's uplifted the profile of LASC in the Asian market by 1,000%. And like you see all these clubs do these things and make these changes and make these quote unquote gambles, which to be honest, I don't feel like it's gambles. I feel like they're more opportunities that are being taken advantage of. And then you wonder, like, man, dude, like, what as a Dynamo franchise, like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Like, realistically, I mean, look, I've mentioned this, a couple of shows ago. When they signed Ache, I was like, wow. Like, that was like, yo, we got a new leadership, new owner. They're Ache, at that time, was the best player in the Gold Cup for Mexico. Had just won La Liga with Atletico not too long ago. Obviously, Mexican captain. So he came in with a resume that that fit the profile of what you want as a face of the franchise. Somebody who is going to bring people on board, who's going to sell jerseys, who's going to make the team better, who's going to help the team lift silverware and all that stuff. And you're like, okay, great. This is a great starting point. But then ever since then, it's just been it's been like, okay, yeah, we hey guys, remember we did that. Yeah, but dude, what have you done for us now? Like, you see what everybody else does, like LAFC every season they're always, hey, look, Hugo Lloris, right? Cool. Or French national team World Cup winner, They brought him in. Oliver Giroud, cool. It didn't work out. You know what, Giroud? Appreciate you. Didn't work out. It was great to see you. Cool. Human Son. The same Inter Miami. Look, people were crazy. Messi isn't coming to MLS. What are you talking about? Blah 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 blah. Not only does Messi come, Busquets comes. My generation's best defensive mid of my generation, right? Comes along with him. Jordi Alba comes, Suarez comes, Rodrigo de Paul, who is in his prime of his career right now, comes over, Ricky Puig, another player who in Europe, everybody looked at him, was like, man, maybe he's not the player we thought he was going to be. But he said, you know what? I'm going to go across the pond and I'm going to go. I'm going to take this L that I took in Europe and I'm going to make it a W over here. And what does he do? Lifts a MLS Cup for Galaxy last season, right? A player who realistically, if he was playing right now, he'd probably be on the rumor mill trying to go back to Europe, and probably will be going back to Europe pretty soon because of how great he's played for the Galaxy during his tenure here, and it's like, man, dude, like when can the Dynamo get into that kind of party? When are we gonna get into that atmosphere? When are we gonna stop trying to just scrap for players and hope that that they still have a little bit of gas left in their tank and they can, propel us to a ninth place spot, to fight for the play in, in the playoffs. Like I don't, I want to be the top echelon. I want to fight for a supporter shield, you know. I want to have a great showing in the League Cup. I want to be participating in the Champions Cup, I want to be fighting for MLS Cup titles. Like I just don't see that in the horizon, man. And it's kind of sad because like I said, I just feel like the Dynamo are always a step or two behind from the rest of the league, and it's like, oh man, even the teams that fail, that they try, they at least try, I mean, look, do you think Marcos Ruiz is enjoying his time in LA Galaxy this season playing for a last place team? No, man. But you know what? They took advantage that he was available. They brought him in, and he helped lift that MLS Cup last season. Sometimes you just got to take those risk rewards and hope for the best, man. And we just, I mean, I don't know, man. Like I said, I don't know what the money structure is or what the money finances is or whatever. But like, what happened to the resources we were promised?
That's a good question. It's real estate.
Yeah, man. I mean, and I'll throw it out to you. I mean, look, I mean, dude, I'm not gonna be an idiot and be like, oh man, well, man, dude, maybe we can get Neymar, or maybe we can get, or maybe we can get a Paulo Dybala. This, I mean, dude, would that be amazing if it actually happened? Yes, obviously, it would blow my mind. I'd be over there getting me a Neymar Dybala kit the next day or whatever. This is that. Yes, but obviously, I don't see that kind of ambition from this club, right? They're so focused on this, on utilizing these U22 initiatives and failing on them so badly. I just don't understand what I understand the financial strategy as far as the gain, but it doesn't matter, dude. Like if you don't get a quality U22 player, which they haven't, aside from Anali, to be honest, if we're being realistically fair, Nali's really like the only one who has been I guess a hit, and unfortunately for him, he's dealt with injury, But I understand that it gives you more of a financial flexibility, but that doesn't matter. Financial flexibility doesn't help you win on the pitch. Bring in a great player that's gonna make your not so good players bump their level up. Like Corey said in the chat, Ache made everybody around him better. You take off Ache, you see what the team is. You put Ache back on the squad. He's your true captain. He's that voice on the pitch. When everything's going down and everything's look like it's about to just go down the shitter, he's the one telling the guys, "Let's go." Hey, Arthur, you need to be over here. Hey, Ponce, I need you over here. Blah blah blah. He's talking to these guys. Every game I've ever seen him live or on television, there's not a moment where I don't see him talking to a player, telling him, "Hey, I need you over here," or "We need you over here," or "Hey, look, this player's doing this. Be ready for a pass," or whatever the case may be. That's what a true captain, that's what a true player of high level brings to a squad. And you're not going to get that from a U22 player. You're not going to get that. As much as I love Inali or Jack McGlynn, give me an Ache type player. Because I know that I know he's a proven winner. I know he knows what to do. I know he knows how to get out of the situations when situations are going south. What's a young 19, 20-year-old Colombian gonna do for me? What's a young 18-year-old, 19-year-old German gonna do for me? Yes, trust me, I understand that we need those type of players as well. But I need true leaders. I need a face of a franchise. So I have this question for you, Andres. If you were able to bring somebody just a higher caliber to the team as a DP, somebody realistically, obviously, if you, I mean, I don't know if you had a chance to kind of look over and see, who would you bring in? Like who would be somebody, a name or two?
Honestly, like there's really not a player like in my mind that we can realistically get, because there's definitely, based on the parameters that we have set ourselves as fans, we can go one or three
Yeah.
ways. Either we're gonna go to South America, one of the countries that we already signed players out of, or some of the uh, Eastern European countries that we also kind of have an affinity for,
Mm-hmm.
or just convert a DP spot to under 22 and sign someone, bring someone in that fits
Yeah.
the mold. Because, like, honestly, for me, it's obviously we just talked about like having a big name player back in Houston, and us seeing all other teams in MLS bring someone of like a big star of a big name into the league. And obviously we did that with Hector Herrera, but that was like, if that was years ago already.
Yeah.
And it makes you think, like, what's the end goal for Tetsi goal? Because everyone's just kind of like on conspiracy theory mode, which I don't blame them, by the way, because it's already been a little bit too long that we haven't brought in a big name player, and we're getting into the World Cup, a good opportunity to raise the value of the team and the profile, and
Nothing.
we have all these soccer fans across Houston that the majority of them are not MLS fans, but they're extremely smart, because if they recognize a name, there's a good chance they're gonna come to Shell Energy Stadium to watch them. And we've seen them time and time again. We're gonna sell out like most games at Energy Stadium, like the big profile games, and it's gonna happen in the World Cup next year. And
Yeah. I mean,
it's
what you're
just
saying is true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm trying to interrupt you. Go ahead, man.
no, you're good. Like it's kind of like we have so many good opportunities to not just put fans in seats and have them be exposed to the Dynamo and what they are, but it kind of just feels like we are no longer taking the risk that we should be doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like we should be signing not just a big name, but also an impact player that can just be there. And I feel like they're afraid to pull a trigger because A, it's not going to turn out to be the player they want to be, or B, it's just like a lot of resources that are not there.
This is the thing. This is the thing that I don't get. They talk. Oh, we want to spin, but we're looking for that perfect player that's going to fit the system, that's going to fit the chemistry, the mold, blah blah blah. All this stuff, whatever. Great, sounds good. But I mean, dude, you have to swing, and when you swing, you're not going to be 100. You're never going to swing 100%, right? To be honest, those first 10 games of Hector Herrera's career, I was like, oh my god, I was from excited to oh shit, he came over here to fuck around, you know. But he had an offseason with the team and the players. He was able to spend time with the players, get to know the strategy, get to know the coaches, get to know the environment. Got to know Houston, enjoyed Houston because I saw him around town a lot of times. And then he's like, you know what? To be honest, I felt like he felt that Houston might have been his last destination, you know. And the sad thing about it is, when they let go of Hector, right, at the end of the playoff run last season, I was against it because of how quickly it happened. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, if they let him go that quickly and they're going to save this much amount of money because of his salary, then they have somebody in mind already, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's my thinking. I'm like, oh, they're ready to go to the next move. I'm thinking like, okay, Hector, thank you for everything you've done, blah blah blah. You're getting up in age, and unfortunately, the money with the age factor is not really to the level where we want it to be. Okay, cool. So I'm thinking like, oh man, they're thinking somebody younger with more skill that can take the Dynamo not from being a dark horse contender to actually being a true contender. That was my thought process. And then when nothing happened, I was like, wow, like that's crazy. Nothing happened, you know? And we kept trying to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yep.
Nah, man, nah, they're not gonna do this to us. Like, dude, we have a team, we have a solid squad, we have a team full of winners. You know, all these acquisitions, they've won something, blah blah blah. This is that, blah blah blah. Then Mikael goes, okay, cool, okay, it's all right. He it's a huge profit from what we pay for him, and the profile grows for the club and all that great stuff. They had to have known already that people were circling around Mikael, and they're gonna bring somebody in, whatever, blah blah blah. But obviously we're still hunting for that DP player that's gonna replace Hector. It's still nothing, man. It's still nothing. We went in here with scraps, and one can honestly say the fact that we're only 4 points away from the playoff line is like, wow, it's truly a miracle. But one can also say is that the back end of that MLS playoff teams like Austin FC, San Jose, Frisco, those teams, quite honestly, they suck. They just happen to be ahead of us, which we suck even more, So it's just an unfortunate thing, because to be honest, had the front office and the team been ambitious and active and proactive, they would have seen this at least 6 weeks ago and would have been like, you know what? As soon as this summer window opens, we're looking for a player of this profile because this is exactly what we're missing, and we need to go after a player like that, and we need to insert that player. And the fact that we have a couple of DP spots open, and I do mean a couple because Linger isn't really a DP. We all know this. We're gonna go all out for whatever player for said player. Like it doesn't make sense to me, dude. It doesn't make sense to me. Just a hypothetical, Andres. Do you know what? Imagine if the Dynamo would have signed someone like Heung-min Son. Dude, you know how much popularity in the Asian market that would have brought to the Dynamo? That would have been Yao Ming to the Rockets.
Yep.
That's Yao Ming to the Rockets.
Literally.
Dude. Heung-min Son's first week with LAFC jersey sales by themselves have by far already covered his salary for sure. Everybody's like, oh man, this is the biggest transfer fee, $26 million for a 33-year-old player. Who gives a shit? Heung-min Son is gonna propel LAFC to make a deep MLS Cup run, if not, maybe even lift it. Gonna sell jerseys. LAFC now has the opportunity to go on an Asian tour that will propel that bring in so much money for them, the same way the Inter Miami has been able to do these past couple of off seasons with Messi and the crew. Dude, I don't understand. It's a win-win situation. Like, why wouldn't we? Oh, because players prefer to go to LA or Miami before they prepare for Houston, blah blah blah. Well, damn, what are y'all doing, man? Like, sell the damn city to these people. Houston is a global city. So you're telling me that Thomas Mueller would prefer Vancouver over Houston? Thomas Mueller, if you heard the reason why he went to Vancouver, because Vancouver sold him on how they're gonna fit him into the profile of the club and this is and that, blah blah blah. Which obviously he came over here with the thought process of, I want to play and I want to make an impact. I don't want to just be the star player and this and that. That's great. But if you're not even talking to these players and knowing what they're really looking for, then what are we doing here? You're just assuming that players are coming here to retire and fuck off and just get the last big paycheck off of you, and that's that. And if you have that mentality, you're already not getting anybody. Nobody's coming to Houston. Nobody's doing this. You're just piggybacking off the whole World Cup thing and all that bullshit that comes around with it, whatever. And that's that. Because after 2026, then what's going to happen after that? You know, like realistically, what's going to happen after that? You know, the Apple TV deal was great for the whole hype and all this stuff, but to be honest, I mean, dude, we're paying a part of Messi's salary. You know,
Yep.
like we're helping other teams. Like I mean, dude, like Houston is the big market. It's the fourth largest city in the country. Like, dude, I'm not even asking for Messi, man. I'm not even asking for Mueller or Heung-min Son. You know, where's my Ricky Puig? Where's my Evander? You know, give me that type of player at least. You know, like where's that guy at? But I mean, I can go on this chat on this rant the whole time, whatever about it. You know, it's a never ending topic of just like how much the front office has failed us, and then you know, like I said, they it's just they're taking advantage of the fact that, you know, we're supporters, we love this club, you know, we're forever orange, we're always holding it down, blah blah blah, all the different, you know, marketing, you know, whatever strategies that they throw at us. Cool, we eat it up. The purple jerseys, the lean jerseys, the black, you know, it's all good. It's all good. But man, dude, I want to see something good on the pitch. So sorry about that, Andres. I just had to get that off of my chest. You know, but obviously, you know, we have the Vancouver game on primetime Sunday, 8 p.m. We are going to be showcased. Hopefully this showcase is not going to show the rest of the league and the rest of the world that how sorry we are. Hopefully they show up and whatever, all that good stuff. Chicago try for KDB. There you go, Andre. Adrian came in late, but came in strong. I appreciate that, my guy. You remember when Sporting Kansas City was about to sign Cristiano Ronaldo? Ronaldo, can
that
you,
rumor was insane,
dude? Could you Cristiano Ronaldo in Kansas City, my guy? Think about it.
That will destroy all the arguments saying that,
dude,
okay, small markets can attract big stars.
Like, see, could you imagine Georgina riding around in a Ferrari in Kansas City, my guy? Like, dude, and supposedly it was this close. It was this close. But I mean, you know, they swung that fucking bat, and
They swung.
They swung.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that they swung. You know, dude, man, I don't even want to. Anyways, Andre, Adrian, I'm sorry. Appreciate that late second remark at the end of the show. Great contribution to the show, my guy. But with that being said, Andres, predictions for this game against Vancouver against Thomas Mueller. What do you think is going to be the outcome? Prime time, 8 p.m. Sunday night football. Vancouver Whitecaps versus Houston Dynamo. What do you think is going to happen?
Man, I don't want to see a scoreline because I'm scared as hell. But yes, my prediction is an entertaining game. I hope so, because an entertaining game means we have a shot. So that's all I'm gonna say, because I don't want to jinx it.
Man, as entertaining as the last time we played Vancouver. Is that kind of entertaining?
Yes.
You know, the last time we played Vancouver at home was they whooped us 3-0. The last time we played in Vancouver was a really entertaining game. I think it was a 5-4 game, if I'm not mistaken.
One of the best regular season games for Dynamo I have ever seen. It's still stuck in my memory to this day.
Yeah, I would sign up for that type of game, obviously, and that would be amazing to see that type of game. Obviously, BP Place is a unique place because of the artificial turf, and it's really it's basically you're playing on the Astrodome. So that gives it that unique type of fast paced game because that ball just bounces and it goes right. So maybe it gives an opportunity for a player like Inali with that speed to really take control. But we'll see because Inali hasn't even been starting these last couple of matches, so I don't know what the deal there is. So we'll see what happens, man. I mean, man, I hate to put a. I just can't be positive about this team right now, man. It's pissing me off, and I'm like, man,
Yeah, no one is.
man, I don't even want to see a scoreline because I just feel like I'm gonna be disrespectful towards this team, and I just don't want to do that. So I'm just gonna hope for a good time. It's gonna it's gonna be great to see Thomas Mueller in a different kit besides a Bayern Munich kit. I guess it'll be great to see that. And then obviously, hopefully they show something in front of in front of the rest of the country that's watching because I mean it is the prime time game for this week, and the last time we were on prime time it wasn't that good of a showing. So a kind of a bit of a sour taste left in our mouths or whatever. Will Olsen get fired? Footballer said. Footballer, what's going on, bud? Welcome in. Appreciate you joining us. I think I mean I said it earlier in the show. I think that McGlynn saved Olsen's job, and I think he will probably finish out as coach for the rest of the season. Andres thinks that's still a week by week process or whatever, but I think that this tie against Austin FC has really kept Olsen's seat from going from flaming hot to just mild warm. Dynamo is due for a megastar. Is money a factor or lack of good sponsors? That's the thing, man. MLS is weird with their finances, man. Like, obviously they report the players' salaries and all that stuff, but like, as far as sponsorship and how distribution of funds, because we are a single entity league, we are supposed to be getting share of revenue as far as national revenue and things like that and all that and all that jive. But I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I think for the club, for what it has done the last couple of seasons, there's been a lot of support. I mean, obviously there's been the attendance has been a bit better. Not this season so much because obviously the Dynamo have gone on a downward spiral again. But I think that the money has been there. I think the money is there. I mean, you see Ted invest in other things as far as upgrading the stadium, buying real estate around there, the Dynamo headquarters, all that stuff. So I don't think the money is the issue. Andres, I don't know if you want to take a crack at this question that footballer threw, but what do you think the reason why we're not really targeting any high end players is?
Could just be a combination of factors, as Inter Miami is a perfect example because there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that they're able to bring in all these players not because they have Messi and Messi is a selling point, but also because they can afford Messi and they can afford the Paul salary because they get deals with other clubs to have them on loan so they can purchase them next year. And Messi's deal, we just talked about Apple being part of the deal, and we just talked about the rest of the league being part of the deal because we're helping Inter Miami pay his salary. And like, if you're able to manage that move, if you're able to manage MLS to, hey MLS, bring in this sponsor in to help us pay this guy's salary because we feel like he's going to be helpful to the league and the growth and all that. It's multiple factors, man. Like, if money's always gonna, well, we already know cash is king, but at the end of the day, it's still manageable. Like, if you can make it happen, like, you can definitely convince the league to do that, or at least find a way to manage those type of deals within MLS's own rules. But we always know that MLS's rules you can definitely bend them here and there.
Yeah, I mean, and by good reason. Look, a lot of people are like, man, how is Inter Miami doing this, whatever? But I mean, Inter Miami is only doing what the league is allowing them to do.
Yeah.
And they're willing to push the lines. yeah, did they mess up one time and have extra DP than what they were supposed to when they had the whole Higuain, Pizarro, maturity era, whatever? Yeah, but I mean, but you know what? But they were willing to press and see what they can what they can do. And then the whole Messi situation happened, and they were able to bring that to the table. And MLS, hey, they changed their rules up because they saw an opportunity, and they wanted Messi playing in MLS. But to be honest, any club can do that. Any club can do. I mean, LA Galaxy did it with David Beckham. I mean, New York Red Bulls did it with Terry Henry. I mean, it's just whether that club at that moment can have that ambition and that and that and those cojones to go and do that. To go facilitate a deal like that. It's tough because there's a lot of mechanisms you got to get over. But I mean, look, the whole Rodrigo de Paul deal. I mean, obviously, it's like how are they gonna sign Rodrigo de Paul, who honestly to be honest, I mean, if he would have played with Atletico this season, he would have been a top 5 defensive mid, number 8, in the world. To be honest, he still might be a top 10 at least. So how are they able to get a player of that caliber in here? Well, I mean, they ask questions. They ask, hey, look, you know what? We can't sign him fully right now, but if you can get us, if you can give him to us on loan, then we'll put an obligation to buy for next season, because they know that more than likely this is Busquets' last season. And he's obviously gonna replace the guy. We've lost Andres at the moment, guys. I'm guessing he's having a little bit of issues over there. But anyways, guys, we're coming up to the end of the show at this moment. But regardless of anything, guys, we all appreciate the love and support that you guys have given us, and obviously, the questions that come pouring in. It's always a great time to have you guys interact with us, and obviously get on the chat and all that good stuff. I know that I'm not the only one that's frustrated here. I know you guys are as well with the season. And we want better for our Houston Dynamo. We want to see them on top of the table and all that good stuff. Welcome back, Andres.
I don't know what happened there. Sorry for leaving.
No worries. It's all good. But yeah, man. Andres, I was just telling the guys, like I said, we appreciate the support. And obviously, we wish that we can give them a happier show as far as with the morale around the club. We just want to see this club do well and obviously be where they belong, and that's the top of the echelon of the MLS tree. But I mean, until we get there, we're gonna keep trying to fight to get there. But Andres, is there anything else you want to add before we head on out?
No, man. Just wanna thank everyone that's been tuning in live, and regardless of the outcome of the season, we still have very passionate fans that are very thoughtful about Dynamo right now, and we gotta let our voices be heard as much as possible, especially for the front office to hear us out and give support to the players that gave everything to the team and for the city. And a special thanks to Jeff. We do have also Sly Rooster, Corey, Giuseppe participating earlier, and Adrian and Footballer for coming. Even if it was late, we do appreciate the support, and of course everyone that tuned in to this episode throughout the evening. We do appreciate you guys.
For sure, guys. And all that good stuff. But before we go, Andres, obviously let these guys know where else they can reach us aside from Thursdays on YouTube.
Yeah, man. At Dynamic Foxtrot, it's gonna be our handle for X, Instagram, Blue Sky. We also have another handle on X called Noodle Tiempo. We try to keep you guys updated as much as possible when it comes to Dynamo, those Dash. Their seasons have been very interesting. It's a lot of roller coasters for all 3 teams, which is kind of disappointing. But we're dealing with it. It's been a weird 2025 in Houston altogether, and we'll be here to give you guys cover as much as possible. And as Marcus mentioned, Foxtrot TV on YouTube. If you're listening to this live, thank you so much for participating. If you haven't checked out our YouTube channel, we do stream our episodes every Thursday here on YouTube. So engage with us in the comments, like our episodes, subscribe, and make sure you have done so already. It means a lot to us, and it definitely helps with the algorithm to be discovered by other people along the way. And Ghost TV, a good platform to check out other soccer content creators like us. So if you haven't checked it out already, I highly recommend doing that right away. It's goals.tv spelled with a Z. And our handle is going to be at Dynamic Foxtrot there. So goals.tv / at Dynamic Foxtrot. And if you haven't checked it out already, our weekly newsletter, Fox in the Box and Dash Dispatch, the written version. We try to keep you guys updated with the weekly newsletter. So keep an eye on that one as we try to keep you guys posted. The next Dash Dispatch will be posted very soon, hopefully by tomorrow. So keep an eye on that one. That it was written by OSG, and yeah, just also check out our other episodes. We just released our Dash Dispatch a few days ago, if you haven't checked it out already, and also our post game from the Austin FC game in our YouTube channel. So check this out, and as always, guys, thank you so much for your support.
For sure, guys. And with that being said, obviously through the ups and downs, it doesn't matter. We're still going to be holding down for H-Town. Throw the matches up, See you guys next Thursday. Shout out to my girl Kiki. Golazo for a Houston Dash. I saw it. Lovely goal.
Yeah.
Wish we can get some of that action for the Dynamo.
For sure, please. And stay noodle, y'all.